Greetings, leaders. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Leadership Is Podcast. I am your host, Jason Muhammad, founder of JM Leadership Consulting. Today's discussion is War for Top Talent. What does war mean? And what is top talent? Why is top talent important? Let's discuss that today. Greetings, leaders. Thank you so much for joining us for the episode of Leadership Is Podcast. Today's discussion is war for top talent. Now, I know that war is such a harsh word. However, in marketing, in business, there is warfare. And that's one thing that entrepreneurs and, people that are looking to go into entrepreneurship have to realize, that there is, in fact, warfare as it relates to business. But I use a lot of acronyms. And once again, I'm using about 3 acronyms here today. And so I want you to always realize that, when I use acronyms for everyday language from leaders, right, I don't want to change your vocabulary, but I want to expand your dictionary. I want these words to really stick out. So when you say them, right, when you attach a real meaning to these words, it kind of has a tendency to expand, the power of these words into the mindset and into the usage of our everyday language. Okay, so war for top talent. DDI, which is Development Dimensions International, did a survey of over 25,000 leaders. And, I talk a lot about this DDI survey here because it has some very, pertinent, important and critical information. Of course, this information was pre-COVID-19, and the social justice era that we're actually in right now, even though the governor of this state of North Carolina has issued that we're now in phase 3 of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So things are beginning to open up a lot more. However, this COVID-19 health crisis produced, an economic downturn in a lot of areas, including here in North Carolina, right? So, but anyway, so this information, is going to be shifting, and that's why I'm doing these podcasts that are going over some of the phases and numbers, right, as it relates to COVID-19 and the economic downturn and unemployment filings, right? So, but anyway, going back to these 25,000 leaders, we talk a lot about this DDI and the top 10 challenges of leadership, and the number 1 challenge that DDI stated is developing next generation leaders. But we haven't done a lot of talk around, or given much attention to the number 2 challenge, which 60% of the respondents stated that their number 2 challenge is retaining top talent. Retaining top talent. Now, what makes talent top talent, right? And so here's 2 words we want to look at: the word top and the word talent. Top here means above all, the highest level. And then the word talent means natural aptitude or skill. But guess what? Talent also means a method of measuring currency. So talent here, there's a relationship between natural aptitude and skill and a method of measuring currency, or currency here. So which means that your talent, right, you can earn a currency based on your talent. But then when you have top talent, how much are companies really willing to pay? Better question is, how much are they really willing to invest, right, in getting that top talent? So the first acronym we're going to talk about today is with the word top, right? Top, again, means above all, the highest level. And TOP as an acronym that I use here means, number 1, trustworthy. Trustworthy. The letter O in the word top, organizer, and the letter P in the word top, producer. So again, top or above all or the highest level is a trustworthy person, an organizer, and also a producer. So, what do we mean by trustworthy? Trustworthy means that you can trust them in their conversation, in their attendance, and also in their contribution. They're talking good about the company, right? You can trust their conversations when you're present, or even better yet, when you're absent. You can trust that in their conversations, they're always talking positive. They're always talking truthful. They're always talking uplifting about the company, agency, or organization and the processes and even the leadership there, right? You can trust that they're going to, and in that trust, in that conversation, and there is loyalty as well. So then it's also found in their attendance. They're not utilizing the system or trying to play the system to get days off, right? They're not trying to, or even they're not calling in a lot, right? And then they're on time. They're even early, right? Not only just coming in, but they're also early with coming back from breaks, and then they also leave later than anyone else. Why? Because their contribution is self-invested, right? So remember, in the word trustworthy, which is the T of top, there's conversation, attendance, and contribution. You can trust them in their conversation. You can trust their attendance, and you can trust that their contribution is going to be consistent. You can trust that their contribution is going to be trustworthy, right? You can trust that their contribution is going to be that which, in other words, they have skin in the game, right? So that's the T in the word top. Now the O, which is organizer. An organizer, there are three components to this. Number one, they're an influencer. Always remember what I teach, and I really got this from John C. Maxwell, right? What John C. Maxwell says, that everything rises and falls on leadership, and then he says that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So an organizer is an influencer. An influencer is one who can, gather the people around them, right? Or even around an idea, not even necessarily to them, but around an idea. And so the idea here can be connected directly to the leader's vision, to the KPIs, to the mission statement and core values of the company, right? So the organizer influences the people to huddle around, those ideas. Number two is with an organizer is that an organizer is a great relationship builder, right? I mean, in order to, really, that's part of how you build influence, is building impactful relationships. And we've talked about this in our 3 keys for leaders to build impactful relationships. Influence. We talked about one of them is, building relationships, right? And so so a organizer is a great relationship builder, right? And being in an impactful relationship, there is a win-win mutual benefit in this impactful relationship that organizers develop. And then number 3, the third component of an organizer is that they're a coach and a mentor. See, so when you have an organizer, right, remember, we're looking at top talent now, trustworthy and organizer. This organizer already has trustworthiness, which is, in their conversations, attendance, and their contribution. How they contribute is they organize. They are an influencer, relationship builder, and a coach and a mentor. They can see someone there that is struggling, and they can help to coach them. Now, some people just don't understand coaching, don't get the coaching, right? You can teach them, you can coach them, to letting them know, hey, X, Y, and Z, right? So here is what the company requires. Here are the standards of the company. Here's where you are as it relates to that standard. Now, here's what we can do to help you to rise up to the standard that the company has in its KPIs and core values, and even the rubric and benchmarks, right? The standards here. You want to rise to the standards of the company. So a coach and a mentor uses influence and builds relationships in order to maintain a structure of coaching and mentoring for their people. And then the P that's in the word top, TOP, is that they are a producer. A producer is a high performer, a critical thinker, and co-author of the work. Now, what we mean by that, a high performer, which means that their level of contribution is that which can put them as an individual contributor, right? So, which means that they take full charge of what their area is, their responsibility is within the company, agency, and organization, and they make no excuses for what it is that they are responsible for doing. And then they're always consistent with their work. Consistent means, with their time that the product is actually released or ready, right? And it's always on time. And then, of course, the quality of the product, right, it is always up to par, if not better, as it relates to products and services. Okay, so they are high performers. Then number two is, and the high performer also goes all the way back to the trustworthiness, which means that in their conversation, attendance, and contribution. And then they're an influencer, relationship builder, coach, and mentor. That is a high performer. They're also a critical thinker, which means that they don't just skim over whatever their role and obligations, duties, and responsibilities are. They're a critical thinker, which means that they weigh out, the impact that this can have on not only themselves, not only their department, but in the agency, company, and organization, also the impact that it can have on the ideal customer, right? So on the ideal customer. So they consider all of those things as they are critical thinkers. They look at what is actually asked of them, and then they measure all of this. They sift through it. They make their mind up like a leader. Right. Leaders also always look at the mission, information, then they negotiate between the two, and then they make decisions. That's how leaders make up their mind. And so that's how producers make up their mind as well, with using critical thinking. And then, of course, they are co-authors of work, which means they don't just ask you to do something. They're going to step in there and, roll their sleeves up, and they're going to get busy doing it as well. And so, again, TOP, top, which is how do you go to war for top talent? Top here means trustworthy, organizer, and producer. So listen, we're going to take a quick break here, and then when we come back, we're going to go into how to go to war with the for top talent. Greetings, leaders. I'm here to talk to you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone and or computer. Now, how convenient is that? Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast, too, with no minimum listenership. So it's everything that you need to make a podcast in one place. So do me a favor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I look forward to seeing the greatness within you. Hey, thank you so much for coming back. So we're going to conclude this episode of Leadership Is Podcast, War for Top Talent. For leaders, organization heads, and C-suite people, the question is, are you willing to pay the price for top talent? Because if you're not willing to pay the price for top talent, you will by default pay the cost for not having top talent. What is the cost for not investing in top talent? And remember, we talked about before the break, top here stands for trustworthy organizers and producers. What is the cost for not investing in top talent? Well, let's look at some statistics. Employee turnover, number one. In exit interviews, The top reasons survey respondents gave for leaving their jobs were career development, which is at 22%, work-life balance, which was at 12%, managers' behaviors, 11%, compensation and benefits, 9%, and well-being, 9%. So 41% of employees strongly agree that they understand what their company stands for. Only 41%. 88% of employees feel undervalued. 58% would trust a stranger over their boss. And 65% would trade their salary to fire their boss. So this is just part of the cost for not investing in top talent. Employee Benefit News, EBM, reports that it costs employers 33% of a worker's annual salary to hire a replacement if that worker leaves. In dollar figures, the replacement cost is about $15,000 per person for an employee earning a median salary of about $45,000 a year. So according to the Work Institute's 2017 retention report, the study of 34,000 respondents concluded that 75% of the causes of employee turnover are preventable. See, there are so many people that say that they believe in, in companies, they believe in investing in top talent, right? But only a small percentage of them actually are willing to spend over $500 or more, right, to actually invest in upskilling, and investing in top talent. So if you're not willing to pay the price to invest in top talent, you are by default going to pay the cost of not investing in top talent, which means you're going to get people into your company. See, many companies are hiring people to just fill spaces, right? To say that they have people in these positions who can maybe or may not be able to do the work, but you got the positions filled. Because a lot of them, set their budgets based on, the amount of people that they actually have. And so they got to have these people. So then they have a tendency to just hire to put what is called cheeks in seats, in other words, right? And so that's one of the ways that we use, you could say it about different institutions, as in school is concerned or manufacturing is concerned, right? You're just putting people in place. And these people, can pass an interview, but that doesn't necessarily make them qualify for the position. And so you want to look at, even in your advertising and your interview process, right? We always talked about this before. We talked about this before in other podcasts, that you don't want to hire perfection, though, but you do want to hire potential. You do want to hire potential. So if you hire perfection, then this person has a tendency to not go any further than where they are right now, because they're perfect for the position, but they don't have enough flexibility or they don't have enough growth potential there, because they seem to be perfect. But if you hire, a person that, for their potential, which means that, they're coachable. They also have they have some competency as it relates to, the job description, and have proven track record of being able to do this job. But they also have a growth mindset, right? Which means that they're coachable. They can be taught things. They have flexibility in their mind to learn and grow. Then that's hiring potential. So when you hire potential, you can basically grow that person into the perfection that you're looking for, right? And as it relates, because what happens is that as long as that person keeps a growth mindset, then they become perfect in every level that you're actually growing that position, that company, that department, that agency, that organization. So hire for potential. right? And not perfection. However, don't just put cheeks in seats. Don't hire people just to say that you have a position filled, because what happens is eventually you're going to end up spending roughly around that 33% of a worker's annual salary to hire and replace, another worker, because, you hired this worker just to fill a position. This person is not necessarily mentally tied to the values, the mission, the core values, and the KPIs of the company, right? So then you end up just bringing somebody on who really does not understand what your company is all about. So again, but you have to go to war for top talent. You have to go to war for top talent. So now the word war here, right? Again, acronyms. Not to change your vocabulary, but expand your dictionary. The word war here as a acronym means to win and retain. Win and retain top talent. Why do you want to win and retain top talent? Again, it goes back to the survey done by DDI that said that 60% of the respondents stated that their number 2 top challenge was to win and retain top talent. Right? Win and retain top talent. Why top talent? Because it feeds into the number 1 challenge, which is to develop next generation of leaders. When you have top talent that's there, right, you can develop them into next generation leaders. And of course, we can see within this world that we're living in that leadership, there is truly a leadership gap. And in fact, in November, around November the 17th or so, I'm going to be hosting a Zoom presentation on closing the leadership gap. It's going to be the first in a series that I'm starting. And the first one is going to be closing the gender gap between men and women, because there really is a gender gap, and we want to discuss that. I'm going to have a panel of people that's going to be on there talking about that. So we will have that information coming out the more we do with these podcasts here. So anyway, you have to go to war for top talent. War is win and retain. So there are 5 strategies of war for top talent. The first one is invest. So the investment here means advertising, material, and development, right? So you want to invest in top talent. You may have top talent in your midst, better known as a hidden leader or even emerging leaders. You may have it, but if you're not paying attention and investing in that top talent that you may already have in your company, you're going to end up paying the cost, because remember, baby boomers came into the job industry for pay, but millennials and Gen Xers are coming in looking for growth and development opportunities. So if you're not focused on what your employees are actually looking for, you may by default turn them away, right? And then you may end up losing top talent instead of gaining top talent, right? So number 2 is you want to reward the contributions of your top talent, right? Regardless of how small or how big, you want to reward that. You want to let them know that you appreciate it. You want to let them know first that you recognize the fact that they have actually contributed in some way, right, to the company, agency, and organization. So we're looking at 5 strategies for how you go to war for top talent. Invest, reward contributions. The third way is under promise, but over deliver. Now, what this does is this contributes to the wow factor of influence, right? And so, which means that you are what you do is that you under promise and over deliver. So you tell them that you're gonna contribute to them in a certain way, right? But then you go above and beyond that. So they're only expecting something small, but then you come with something grand, right? What does that do? You want to reward more of what you want to see. And when you reward it in a grand way, that inspires a grand motivation to want to do more grand work. So, under promise and over deliver. Number 4, provide growth and development culture. You want to have a culture, not of one of toxic, where you got pots of people that are gathered there gossiping about the other pots of people, right? And so that is a culture of toxicity, right? And so then, which means that you should never wonder why your company is sinking, why there's so many unengaged employees, so many dissatisfied customers, because your company has a toxic culture. No, you don't. That's not where top talent is actually going to thrive, right? Top talent thrives in a growth and development type culture. Then you begin to grow. Your top talent buds up from a growth and development culture, right? And then number 5 is communicate clear and effective. What it is that you actually want and desire from your top talent, right? Communicate clear and effective your key performance indicators, right? Make sure that you communicate clear and effective your vision as a leader, your mission statement as a company, your core values as an organization and agency. You want to communicate that clear and effective. So to recap, war means to win and retain. And 5 strategies of war for top talent is you invest in them, you reward their contributions, you underpromise and overdeliver on what it is that you're actually rewarding. You provide growth and development culture, and then you communicate clear and effective, what it is that you actually desire of them. So the benefits far outweigh the price that you would have to pay to invest in your top talent. The benefits is you retain top talent employees, you save money and resources. Remember that that 33% of an employee's salary once they leave. So you save money and resources, right? And then number 3 is you create a culture of engagement, growth, and development. So if you're going to go to war for top talent, you want to win and retain them. And you do this by investing in them, rewarding them, under promise and over delivering, provide growth and development cultures, communicate clear and effective the core values, mission, KPIs of your company. You have to go to war for top talent. But if you use these 5 strategies and you can adapt them into your own systematic way and into your own cultural processes, right? If you adapt these 5 strategies in there, the benefits would be that you will retain top talent, you'll win top talent and retain top talent, you'll save money and resources, and you'll create a culture of engagement, growth, and development. Go to war. Hey leaders, thank you so much for enjoying another episode of Leadership Is Podcast, where we talked about war for top talent, how to win the war for top talent. The 5 strategies of war for top talent is to invest, reward contributions, underpromise, overdeliver, provide growth and development culture, communicate clear and effective. And these benefits will retain your top talent, save your money and resources, and create a culture of engagement, growth, and development. I work with emerging leaders, high potential employees, and students to develop and embrace a growth mindset for leadership. If you would like for us to do a presentation, keynote your next event, or for a free half-hour consultation, please contact us at jason@jmleadershipconsult.com. Visit my website, www.jmleadershipconsult.com, or call us at 828-333-7234, and we will respond promptly. Please subscribe to this podcast using the Anchor app or Anchor FM, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts using Leadership Is with Jason A. Muhammad. Also, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at JM Leadership Consulting, where we will place videos of this podcast so that you can listen to it as a video audio on Facebook there. And always remember, leadership is influence and service.